Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. Operations have intensified in the strife-torn region of Manipur following the imposition of President's rule on the 13th of February, leading to recovery of 15 IEDs and the arrest of at least 16 insurgents. Sources in the administration revealed that security forces were instructed to de-arm the communities within 3 months as part of the centre's efforts to restore peace in the region. Forces have spearheaded a crackdown on weapons, illegal checkposts and insurgency, with the Indian Army and Assam Rifles leading joint operations alongside Manipur Police. Manipur Governor Ajay Kumar Bhalla is also closely monitoring the situation, prioritizing order in both hill and valley regions. Disarming is believed to be crucial to establishing lasting peace in the region, which has seen at least 260 people killed and over 60,000 displaced due to the conflict between the Methi and the Kuki community since May 2023. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director of India Foundation. DGP B.L. Vohra, terror security expert, also joins us on the program. Dr. P.K. Mishra, additional DG, BSF, also with us on the broadcast. And last but by no means the least, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, defense expert, with us on the program as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with NewsX. General Katoch, I'll begin with you. Sir, would you rather, look at the President's rule being imposed as an escalation of the government's efforts to make sure that what they've been trying to achieve in the last couple of years is accelerated? And if so, are you happy with the pace, sir, and what ever results you have seen so far, or this brief time in which the President's rule has been imposed?
Thank you. Yes, I think it was essential to have imposed President's rule, though personally I am against imposition of President's rule, but in the circumstances, I don't think the government of India was left with too many options. So that is the first thing. You had to do it and they have done it. This is one. Number two, had President's rule not been imposed, I think getting hold of the situation would have been very difficult. Politically, I think the state is in a mess. And ultimately, if politically you are in a mess, then carrying out any other initiative I've found becomes very difficult. So now the politics is out of what is happening in Manipur. We have central rule there. We have the governor there. And I presume there'll be coordination at the very highest level as to the way we are going to go forward. Essentially, and I had spoken in your show earlier also, essentially I think the most important thing is to see, I'm not saying that we get back peace, but we remove violence. That is very important. The peace will come when the politics comes. But with the security forces, we can ensure the peace. And with the, so many IEDs being discovered and armed militants being captured, I think that will bring a semblance of normalcy. For the first time, I think there is a deterrence to the opposition, to the people who are picking up the guns. Otherwise, they were having a reasonably free run. Now that free run is no longer available, and I think they will be very hesitant to go down that path. Should they go down that path, the security forces are there. The army is there, the CRPF, the BSF, all of the forces who are there, they will take care of the situation and sort it out. So I think it is a very good first step. We need to ensure that this is maintained for at least 2 months. And then we can see if the political process can come back in and have a lasting normalcy. The way Manipur used to be many, many years ago. Back to you.
The way Manipur used to be many, many years ago. So, Vohra, the way Manipur used to be many years ago is obviously the aspiration here. But the fact of the matter is that the dynamics, if you compare to what Manipur was perhaps 3 to 4 decades ago, have changed drastically. There is this issue of a porous border. There is this issue of terror being funded by outside forces as well. How is President's rule going to contend with that?
See, why go that far back? I was there in November 22 with many of my friends. We had gone on a holiday to Manipur and Nagaland both, and we went at that time right up to Chudachandpur. It was all okay. But yes, things have become very bad, as we all know. President rules is a very good first step. Initial action being taken also seems to be promising, but these are early days. I think we should also be prepared for any retaliation from those guys, because they will not sit back and just allow the government to take away their weapons and things like that. But I think in a way it's better to have contact. Once you have the contact, then you can really enforce more and more firepower into this or whatever searches and everything. But I think simultaneously other steps should also be taken, like investigation of crimes and more important, rehabilitation of the displaced people. I think that's extremely important. Ensuring that essentials reach there, even to faraway places like Chudachandpur, and all other administrative facilities, normal human facilities like bus services, medical care, schools, and all, everything starts running. I think action has to be taken simultaneously on many fronts, including on the Myanmar border, and of course, diplomatic efforts, and our agencies also. Intelligence agencies also have to do a lot of work. So I think a lot of work is there on the plate, but the beginning has been made, and I hope that slowly we will get over the problem. We'll have an upper hand. Vineet.
Slowly we'll get over the problem and we will have an upper hand. Dr. Mishra, do you share the optimism displayed by Mr. Vora here?
Please unmute me. Yes, I listened to Mr. Vora. In fact, I visited Churachandpur only last month, and nice of it that yesterday a lot of checkposts after President's rule was made, a lot of checkposts which were there, the barriers which were there between Bishnupur and Churachandpur, they were removed for the first time after May 23. It's a very good sign, and few buses from Impal has gone to Churachandpur and back with protection, and no incident has happened. And in fact, because of the President rule, the operation against militants, particularly in the hill areas and also in the plain areas, they are doing it very effectively, and see many miscreants, many militants with sophisticated weapons like M16, M18 rifles and carbines and rockets and drones. They were captured. A lot of IEDs, 22 to 25 improvised explosive devices were also seized from them. And in fact, yesterday it so happened the Kokomi group, they have met Honorable Governor and they have requested Honorable Governor that Jiribam highway and the other highway to Dimapur, they should remain open, and the extortion which is going on at Jiribam, that has to be stopped. And mostly I find the way now things are happening, the political dialogue will definitely start as the governor has already started. Political dialogue will be, it is the last process, definitely to bring back the peace. Political dialogue with Kukijo community, with the Nagas, with the Pongals, it is a must. And best part of it, now the Honorable Governor has asked the security forces to have a check on the border. The worst part of it, Manipur-Myanmar border was porous, as the earlier speaker was telling. But now they are blocking it, and even drones are deployed also, and they are being watched what is on in Manipur border. And the places where poppy culture was going on, they were all destroyed, and the drugs which were coming, the drugs, those were there in Churachandpur, they have already been apprehended. Number of them have been apprehended, and a lot of drugs were seized also. Now the only part, there are two parts which Honorable Governor can do immediately. That is getting the trust factor between cookies and Maitis. Number two, the weapons which are looted and which came from Myanmar, they ought to be, they have to be seized.
All right.
And
so there seems to be a problem with your connection. We're going to come back to you momentarily. Let me also rope in Major Mohammed Ali Shah into this conversation. Ali, you're familiar with Manipur like the back of your hand. You know, this is obviously a challenge that the government has taken very seriously now. It took them a couple of years to figure out these problems, and now they finally realize that disarming some of these terrorists, disarming some of these India elements is going to be the priority, and for that you need complete and comprehensive control, and that is the reason why the president's rule has been imposed. And considering the pace at which we have also started to see a lot of these confiscations happening, what do you make of it?
Right, Mr. B.L. Bora actually, what was exactly was in their mind? He spoke about the rehabilitation of the displaced people of Manipur. That's extremely important. We have to get both communities to have a dialogue, which now seems almost impossible. But I don't think it's possible. I think right, you will be fine with doing such. So the bonus and the fact
Hari, there seems to be a problem with your network as well. If you could just log off and log in again. We can't hear a thing that you're saying, Ali. Please log off and log in again. In the meantime, let me in fact open General Katoch once again into the conversation. General Katoch, this disarmament drive is fine, but at the end, what has been elusive is the peace between these two communities. For that, there is no amount of aggression which is justifiable. What needs to be done is perhaps a chat across the table. Do you think that the government is also going to work towards that soft aspect?
Most certainly, Vineet. But this will take time. The point is, if you start talks when the situation is really not under control, it doesn't have too much impact or utility. So I think they will wait for some time. You see, the governor will take certain steps at his end. He will meet various political groups on a one-to-one basis, right? He will try to gauge the situation at his end, and the security forces are there to assist him. So I think all that has already started and would have started on the very day that the governor joined and took over the office. I think from the intelligence agency side, something which needs to be done, which I think is going to be vital, is really keeping curtailing the finances, one, and curtailing the supply of drugs, two, from across the border. So these two aspects are very important. And every time when I talk of finances, people say, no, it is not happening. It is simply a figment of your imagination. Now those sordid details are coming out from the United States Agency for International Development, what we call USAID. And the way money has been given really to carry out color revolutions across the world, including in Bangladesh, I'm absolutely certain that was being done right in Manipur itself. And it was one of my views that once a change of power center, the power center changes in the United States, peace will also come to Manipur. They are linked. They are linked to various actions. This is one. So we need to get into who are those people getting the money, who has got the money, and get into the depth of it and take them out. That is going to be a very, very important first step. The second step is keeping a control of the drug trade between Myanmar and India. Now, that is easier said than done because there is no form of governance in Myanmar itself. So that system has collapsed there. So in my view, if required, the Indian armed forces, specifically the Indian Army, on specific missions, should cross the border and move in and do whatever has to be done. This is my view. It could be contested. That's a fair point. But unless we start hitting at the sources which are across the border, the problem will remain within India. So these two initiatives, I think the intelligence agencies can really get those inputs. The security forces will do the rest and sort it out. From the governor's side, he would have already established a coordinating cell at the apex level for decision making. The army commander and the senior BSF and administrative officers, they will be part of that cell. So it has to be a whole of government approach. I'm sure that is being done, or if it's not being done, it will be done very, very quickly. But once we get on to that, I think this problem is going to subside, specifically because it is not an internal problem. By and large, a lot of problems in India were a result of what is happening on the ground. This time, the problem which has originated from abroad. And once we understand that it is something from outside, there are external agencies, including the church groups, which act very holy, but which they've got a specific North American agenda, trying to do what they're doing in the valley. once we control that, I think situation will change very rapidly, because inherently there is no conflict between the Kuki and the Maiti. Inherently, they have always lived together in peace. So that situation can come back again once we remove the weapons, remove the external agencies, and get control over the drug trade. Vineet.
This is obviously a calibrated move, but General Katoch is absolutely right. It is not going to happen overnight. There are priorities that the government has to put into place. The peace between both these communities has existed in the past, can exist again, but of course there are checks and balances which need to be ensured, some of them from a soft angle and some of them from a hard aggressive stance.
Yes.
Mohammad Ali Shah?
Right, Vineet, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, Vineet, the very fact is that now armed forces, their hands were tied. With the present rule coming in within 15 hours, we got a lot of recoveries, and the security forces did so well. In fact, we are trying to unarm them. And I think Mr. B.L. Vora had spoken my mind completely when he reinstated a very, very important point, which was the rehabilitation of the people who are displaced in Manipur, be it the Maitis, be it the Kukis, because in winter they had a tough time, during festivals they have a tough time, they cannot go back to houses. When we have buffer zones created over there, which means a Maite cannot go to a Kuki household, or in that area where Kukis dominate, a Kuki cannot go to a household where the Maitis are dominating. He might have interest there, he might have property there, he might have a house there, he might have his workplace there, but don't go there. So, like for example, when the assembly was called, there were 4 Kuki MLAs who could not come for the parliament. Similarly, I think it is very important to get them for a dialogue somehow. And somehow, it will be a miracle. It will be difficult, but miracles happen to those little miracles. And I think we have to identify, the government has to identify the right people. They have been former DGPs, former GOCs, former chief secretaries, former governors. They have been former chairmen, ceasefire monitoring group in the northeast part of India who understand, who are neither Maitis nor Kukis, but who understand Manipur very well. We can take their help. They play the role of very, very good interlocutor. Here, I have been stressing upon the need of the interlocutor. Many people don't even know. I don't know whether they are interlocutors appointed or not. I don't know personally. They could be, maybe it's my ignorance. I'm not aware. But they should be more proactive in that matter. So I think a state like this, in fact, I remember 2005, this 2025, 2005, I set my first foot as a young captain in Jiribam, which is in Manipur. And I have seen the insurgency of Manipur, and I had just come from jail. I remember telling my battalion that the insurgency in Manipur is worse than what's happening in Jammu. Of course, you can't compare the two. It's very, very different. But Manipur is in what Jammu is.
Ali, we're losing you again. Ali, we're losing you again. Let me also rope in Mr. Vora once again into this conversation. Mr. Vora, important point made by Mohammad Ali Shah that apart from the policies and the outlook that the government needs to adapt and adopt, it also has to focus on who actually it elects and selects to sort these problems out.
Ali has made a very important point of having interlocutors, especially many people who have worked there. They all have their lot of personal contacts, each one of them. Even I have done 3 tenures there. We all know some people. This is an important point. But 1 or 2 more points, Vineet, I wanted to make. One is the streamlining of administration is very important. There are elements in the administration also who are partial towards their communities. In fact, some of them even handed over weapons.
Yes.
I think that purge also has to take place simultaneously. As I said, there are a lot of steps which have to be taken simultaneously. It's very, very important that this should be done.
Right.
Lot of security should be provided. Security to buses, as Mr. Mishra was saying, going to Jadachandpur. I was DGP Tripura also. We had provided so much of security all over.
Yes.
Now tomorrow it's needed in Imphal, for example. If cookies come to Imphal for any work or for marketing or going to their own areas, I think if policemen are visible around the corner, it will give them a lot of sense of security. Strict action should be taken, and vice versa there in Chudachandpur and other areas of Manipur also. I think this is a big menu, if you ask me. A lot of things to be done. But yes, containing violence first, getting back weapons second, and of course then simultaneously lot of actions of all kinds which my distinguished colleagues have mentioned here. This is important that, and I think now work has started. I'm sure slowly and surely we'll be able to get over the situation, as I said earlier also. Vineet.
Right, you're absolutely right, sir, that we have to give this some time, but at the same time we also need to understand that 2 years is a long time for something like this to go on. Mr. Mishra, we have almost run out of time. Do you agree with the points that have been in fact put forth by General Katoch and Muhammad Ali Shah as well, that there has to be a middle path here? It cannot be black and white.
Yes, middle path has to be there. I see it will be both the approach, soft and cold. Soft and hard, which already Honorable Governor has started. And I'm telling you, I just got the information that the few Naga MLAs, they are playing a great role in having the political dialogue between cookies and my Maitis. They are starting, they have already started. And the best part of it, the border, Myanmar border, as Mr. Bora was saying, the Myanmar border is already protected and drones have been used. They are being used just to see that the people, they don't cross over to this side. Of course, two things have to be done. Number one, those people, 50,000 to 60,000 displaced people, they have already started sending them to their houses and rebuilding their houses. The work has already been started, and political dialogue is that is also coming up very fast. And the best part of it, the security scenario in Churachandpur, Chandel Belt, and Imphal East, Imphal West, Tamenglong, and Jiribam, that is coming to normalcy, and law and order situation is definitely coming back very soon. And I'm very sure with so many forces having good cooperation with Manipur Police, things will be coming very fast, and the governor is looking into all these aspects, and all the commanders, those who are there, they are the expert in field, particularly in the Manipur scenario, Manipur field, and they are doing their best. I hope the peace will definitely prevail, peace will come soon, and the violence will end.
All right, sir. Well, appreciate everybody who joined us. But the fact of the matter is that this has been an ongoing issue. And we really definitely need to find a solution. Appreciate everybody who joined us. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.